Well, I'm not saying this show has particular powers, but a few weeks ago, I interviewed a young man who came on and was very impressive on Piers Morgan Uncensored. And the next thing, he's running for US president. And he's running really as the first properly anti-woke president of the United States. Entrepreneur and author Vivek Ramaswamy is a self-declared America First conservative, running for the Republican nomination. He's promised to defend America against what he calls the secular religion of wokeism, which we've just been talking about. So, welcome back, Vivek. Great to see you. Was it the appearing on Piers Morgan Uncensored that drove you to announce your candidature?
I think it must have been just a subconscious urge you gave me. That's right. I didn't realize it till you mentioned it there, but it must have played a role.
Well, listen.
Good to see you.
It's exciting, you running. I think you've energized the race, and it'd be very interesting to see how far you can take it. The great elephant in the room, in every sense, of course, is Donald Trump. And the recent Fox News poll yesterday showed Trump with a massive lead, even over his second place person, Ron DeSantis, and then a huge gap back to the rest of the field, including yourself. How can you barrel your way past Donald Trump to win the nomination?
So I view myself as building on the foundation that he already laid, taking America first to the next level. But I say this very clearly, Piers, in order to put America first, we in this country have to rediscover what America is. And if you ask most people my age in the country today, really any age in the country today, what does it mean to be an American today? You get a blank stare in response. And the hallmark of my candidacy is that I'm reviving the ideals that set this nation into motion 250 years ago from your side of the pond, set this nation into motion not only 250 years ago, but the ideals that define it today. Basic ideas like merit, that you get ahead in this country not in the color of your skin, but in the content of your character and your contributions. Free speech and open debate. The radical idea that the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the people who actually run the government. I think most people agree on these basic rules of the road regardless of partisan affiliation, but very few candidates are talking about this issue of national identity. And that's what the heart of my campaign is all about, is reviving this missing national identity in America. My travels of this country suggest that people are hungry for it. They're starved for it. And so far, I'm beginning by saying the things that other candidates are not willing to say in polite company, but which are just fundamentally true, from ridding ourselves of the cancer of race-based affirmative action to abandoning this climate religion that shackles the West while leaving China untouched. And I think people know deep in their bones these things are true, need to be said, and most importantly, need to be delivered.
I mean, talking of truth, I was in New York last week and interviewed George Santos, this Republican congressman who has told so many lies it's impossible to keep up with him. And eventually I just put it to him that he might just be a terrible liar. Here's the clip. I've been a terrible liar. I mean, would you be prepared to say that?
Sure. Like I said, well, I've been a terrible liar on those subjects.
Kind of stunning that, to watch a serving US congressman just brazenly admit I'm a terrible liar and still sit there serving the American people.
It might be the most truthful thing he's actually said, and it might even be more truthful than many other politicians, actually. So the irony is that, you know, I don't give him a lot of credit for much, but I give him credit for saying that, because there's a lot of other people, Piers, who are sitting in Washington, D.C., who could call themselves terrible liars, too. And I think that that's part of why, bluntly, I respected Donald Trump for what he did coming in as an outsider in 2015. You only get to be an outsider once, though. I'm coming in as a new outsider. As far as I know, I'm the only real outsider in this race. And you know what? At a certain point, you become a creature of the very swamp that you wanted to drain. You become a creature of the government that you wanted to reform. I'm coming in with an agenda to do something that I haven't heard from other candidates: shut these agencies down. I've already committed to shutting down the Federal Department of Education in the United States. It has no reason to exist other than to cause greater problems and spend money. I'm going to identify a list of other agencies we intend to shut down too. I want to fire over half the federal employees. I actually think that that would be good for the federal government, not just in terms of saving money, but restoring democratic integrity. That is speaking truth. But you know what? Maybe after 8 years on the job, I'll be like one of them too, which is a good reason why I need to get the heck out of the way. But right now, I'm aiming to bring a fresh perspective and shake it up.
Listen, I think you've got a very dynamic style, a very dynamic message. Don't agree with everything you say, but I like the way you say it all. But you still not really addressed the original question, the elephant in the room, because to achieve any of the things you're talking about, you've actually got to win the Republican nomination. That will give you the chance to then potentially win the White House and be president and do the things you want to do. And as you know, Donald Trump still has this massive stranglehold over the Republican Party. How are you going to beat him? Because I've known Trump a long time, right? In good times and bad. We've had great friendship. We've fallen out a few times. Always fall back in is fine. But the thing about Trump is you're either all in or you're all out. There's no sitting in the middle, Vivek. There's no like, you know what? I like the guy, but I still want to beat him. If you want to beat him, you've got to say how you're going to do it, and he's going to come after you. You know that.
So I'm going after this on the substance, Piers. And I traveled to Iowa and New Hampshire. Those are the early voting states here in the United States. I had many people who came in. There was actually one elderly woman, but she was caught on camera, but many others said the same thing, which is, you know, I liked what you had to say. Maybe I want to see you be Trump's VP. Now I'm moving to you. Why was that? Because it was because of the specificity of what I said I'm going to deliver. You know, just take this example of affirmative action, right? Most Republicans hate affirmative action, as do I. But very few have done anything about it. And it was because of a Lyndon Johnson executive order in America that mandated race-based quotas in the private sector for any company that did business with the government. Every Republican president, Donald Trump included, could have taken a pen and crossed it out. They chose not to for fear of political backlash. I don't have that fear. And so in a certain way, I think what I'm going to be, my candidacy is going to be defined by the substance and specificity of clear solutions.
But how much
not
also,
just by looking backwards and complaining.
All right, but you also, you
yeah.
have age on your side, clearly. You're a young, dynamic person, as I've said. Nikki Haley, one of your other rivals now running for the Republican ticket, she says, effectively, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are too old. It's time for a new generation. Do you share that view?
So I don't quite share Nikki Haley's view because I don't believe in eliminating the competition. If you want to be the leader of the free world, you do it by convincing the voters of the merits of your vision over somebody else's. She picked 75 arbitrarily because Donald Trump's 76. If Trump had been 71, she would have said 70. I think, frankly, that's a pretty lame approach to actually try to eliminate competition. I think we should have it out in the open, have the open brawl, debate it out in the open, and I think that the best ideas and the best candidate to carry those forward ideas will win, and I'm running because I believe I'm that candidate.
So you
People
believe...
get worried about Trump calling them a given name or whatever.
All right, so because the bigger a threat you become, the more Trump will come for you. We've seen it with Ron DeSantis, who he calls Ron Supercilious, whatever it is. Is your message to Donald Trump, if he's watching, I'm sure he is, he's a big fan of Piers Morgan Uncensored, if he's watching, is your message that you're going to beat him?
My message is I'm going to win this election because I wouldn't run for president of the United States if I didn't intend to see this all the way through.
So you're going to beat Donald
He's a friend.
Trump.
I respect
just look
him
down
for
the
the
barrel,
energy he
Vivek.
brings.
Look down the barrel and say, Donald, I'm going to beat you.
I believe that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm setting out on this election.
No,
and he's a friend now. We'll stay friends after.
I mean, talk directly to Donald Trump. Imagine he's watching, which I think he will be. Just say to him that you're going to beat him.
I love your energy, man. I love what you've done for this country. You were an inspiration to what you did in 2015. Now it's my turn. We're taking this forward and reviving America. Something you care about, something that I care about. And hopefully we can work together to do it in some way because it's going to take every one of us to revive this nation. And I'll tell you this too, okay? To be really honest about it, if you can't handle some name calling, I see other Republican candidates whining about this possibility. If you can't handle being called a name in this country, you probably shouldn't be the person representing this country sitting across the table from Xi Jinping. We all need to toughen up a little bit. And I think that all of us do genuinely care about this country. I'm running because I believe that, in all seriousness and joking aside, Piers, I care about this thing called national unity in the United States. And I think Donald Trump is misunderstood. I think he cares about national unity a lot, too, even though people misunderstand that about him. But the question is, who can actually deliver it right now? And I think that if it was going to have been delivered, it would have happened already. We need a different approach to uniting this nation.
So if you're going to win, Vivek, I've got to wrap it sadly, because I love talking to you, but if you're going to win, are you suggesting then that maybe Trump could be your running mate?
I would take him as an advisor. You know what? I would take his advice on reforming the administrative state. I want to shut down those agencies. He has some experience trying. I want to benefit from his experience. So I'll take his advice at every step of the way. He sets a high bar in this primary.
I'm going to thoroughly enjoy. That's why I'm running. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy telling Donald Trump that you have kindly offered to employ him as one of your advisors. Vivek Ramaswamy, you're an exciting...
Take his advice, is what I would say. Thank you.
Well, you listen, you're an exciting candidate. I'm glad you're in the race. I think it's what it needs. A bit of energy and dynamism. And it'd be very interesting to see how far you go. But it's great to have got to know you on the show. Please come back again soon.
Appreciate it, man.
Actually, final question, Vivek, before I let you go. Final question. Should James Bond books be censored?
No is a hard no to that answer, okay? Got a 007 answer to that question. We'd sort of like, take aim at whatever that problem is and really say we're done with censorship in this country on both sides of the Atlantic.
I like a straight answer to a straight question. Vivek, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Interesting character.